Hi folks, as you can probably tell there's a little bit of jerking when I run, sort of lag rather. This is not something that happens all the way through the level, it's just at the beginning I think while my computer was kind of warming up I suppose you could say, so this will go pretty soon. In this level we have some close combat and there's a hell of a lot of heavy fire again in this level. At the minute we're in a recon mode, it's all silent, we're not allowed to give any alerts as you can probably tell by the right hand corner message, and at the minute we're just making our way to that ship and soon we will be inside of it. At the minute we're just taking out some of the patrolling guards on the outside. Obviously got to keep quiet at all times and just making sure that we mark those targets correctly. Obviously again, as I always tell you, the problem that I have with my mouse is that it is unfortunately very sort of jerky, so you move it a little bit and then it moves a hell of a lot on the screen, so it's hard to get that really precise shot rather. And as you can probably tell also, it's just a case of shoot him in the shoulder if it doesn't work in the head. You've got to obviously move very fast, otherwise as soon as you make that shot you will be detected and you just got to eliminate them quick, otherwise it is game over, unfortunately. I'm not really, to be honest with you, recon mode where you're not allowed to make any alert really kind of annoys me a little bit, because sometimes there are targets that you just cannot see and they're kind of hiding behind a wall. Now they'll see dead bodies falling on the ground and then suddenly it's game over and you've got to start the whole level again. And what was really annoying about this level was the checkpoints were so far apart, so if you got found out once later on in the level you had to do the whole thing again, and it was really annoying. As you can tell, dead body found, and the only obviously at this point we can actually engage because the alert thing has been taken off. It's just a case of heavy fire now. Well, this isn't heavy fire right now, it's later on we'll get some really heavy fire when we're on the ship's deck. That is insane later on, but I will leave that for you to see. Also later on in this video we actually see a very kind of nail-biting situation, because we have another zone where we are under a time limit, and in this particular level the time limit is very small for the amount of work we have to do. It's quite difficult to do, in fact you just have to mark the targets as fast as you can, take priority targets out, and also obviously do your best to shoot them too. It really isn't an easy level to do, to be quite honest. This one wasn't. There was just so much suppression and it was just hard to mark all the targets out in time. So as you can see we got some close cuts. I don't know how he didn't see me, I mean seriously. Oh, was that someone's head? Oh, no, never mind, I'll just ignore it. But anyway, falls over the thing. Oh, well, no one notices that. Anyway, again, we're going to be using some of the thermal imaging soon. Again, and we'll use this quite a lot in this video. What happened with my voice in a video? And again, just making our way down. There's lots of cover here, so that makes it a bit easier. But later on there's a lot less cover and we're actually pinned down, so it's quite difficult indeed. And this is another explanation of what I was trying to say. There's just so many targets. We've got about five targets here. 6, 7, how many actual targets are there? We've got at least 4. Oh, there's 4 and then there's even more to take out later on. They just come from nowhere, they kind of come from beneath the machines. But anyway, there we go, my teammates took the other down. You see they're coming down from underground. And it's quite difficult to get a shot on them when they're hiding behind things. But I managed to do so just in time. You see that little one that comes up, that's marking the targets when in combat, that's taking them out priority. So when you mark them, the other teammates will focus on them too. It's also worth mentioning that when you mark them, it also makes it easier for you to see where they are, because sometimes when they duck behind a cover you sometimes forget where they are, but that target will always stay marked for as long as they are alive. You see, if the target wasn't marked then, you wouldn't have been able to see where he was because the red outline would have gone. But with the target being marked, you can always tell where they are. The invisible cloaking on this level doesn't really make any difference. It's, well, obviously earlier on in the level it did when we were in recon mode, but at this point it's pointless. We might as well not have it. Well, here is the time limit that I was telling you about. 3 minutes 26 to get through about 5 different levels of combat, and it really was a rather intense level. I'm not gonna lie, I died a few times on this one because you've got to really try and get the correct balance of moving through the levels but also staying safe at the same time. And you've just got to some extent you have to rush things. If you don't, you'll just keep failing every time. And you'll see an example of that later on. Not me failing, but me rushing through the top level and just kind of trying to get past the guards and what have you without even suppressing or without even marking the targets or even killing them myself. It's just one of those levels that you just have to move so fast in order to get past. Not an easy level at all. See, there was one of the examples where I just ran past the target. Taking out that target would have actually cost me valuable seconds, which, as you'll see later on in the level, would have actually cost me the entire level because I only have about 10 seconds left. So I didn't find it. It was a difficult one. They're throwing grenades of all sorts too. I mean, that was only a flashbang, but they do throw frags too, so you have to constantly bug out too. And with them always hiding behind cover, you know, this is another example. I mean, I don't know what happened then. He kind of just, what happened? He kind of shot himself out, and killed himself, and then jumped into the middle of our fire. Anyway, again, next up, this is an example of one of them grenades being thrown. You just got to move out and then regroup. And it's just not an easy level at all, to be honest. It was quite a difficult one to do overall, and it's just a case of trying to move up these levels to see where that secure sign is. That's where we got to get, and it just wasn't an easy one to do at all. Always, it's my top tip is to mark those targets. If you don't mark them, teammates are quite, what's the word, non-precise. That isn't even a word, but never mind. They're not precise in why they shoot, they just shoot all over the place. Kind of hope they get a target, but if you mark them, they will be very concentrated on the target they get. See, this is where I had to rush things a little bit in order to get in there. As you can see, I'm taking on some fire, but if I didn't rush into the here, I just wouldn't have made the level. I would have lost it again. There we go, we have secured the room.
Uplink in place. Copy, connecting now. Alright, we're in. Our techs will take it from here. There's a helipad on the upper deck. Rally there. Roger that, Overlord. Team.
So next up, it's a case of going to the ship's deck, and remember that heavy fire that I was talking about? Well, it's coming up very, very soon indeed. It is insane. I mean, some battles went on for about 10 minutes, even more than that, so it was just a case of, I cut a bit of the battling out, just left in some of the most intense combat, and, you know, if I left it all in, my god, this would be a long video. Kind of the way they just slide down there, that was hilarious. Fortunately, a little bit of lag, just as we see these little video clips of them going through the door. But there isn't that much. Here we go. So this is the deck. Now this isn't the most heavy part of the fire. This is actually one of the most relaxing, I suppose you could say, parts of the combat on the deck. Later on, we even get in the chopper and have to use the machine gun on a convoy and the ship, in fact. So it was such an insane sort of level. I mean, I know earlier I was complaining about the recon side of it, where it's all quiet, but I mean, recon compared to the fire that we're going to be getting later, well, it's completely easy in comparison. At this point, I didn't really know where the fire was coming from, but it was actually snipers that are really tucked away. And if it weren't for the fact that you can see where their bullets have been, you just wouldn't be able to see them. It's quite difficult to locate them. Again, using the marking target, it makes it a little bit easier to see. But coming up soon is just some heavy fire because we will be down there and we'll be locked in. We won't be able to get. I don't think we. No, I try to get back up to this level to sort of get a more accurate shot on them. It's always sort of more. I would always suggest being at the top to shoot them down, but I wasn't able to get to the top deck. So it was really annoying. That was that. You see those little lines? That's how you can tell where the snipers are. You just follow the line to where they are. But now we're at the bottom, and this is where the intense fire sort of comes in. I'm thinking about perhaps just letting the video run on a little bit, so you can just watch the heavy fire, and I'll shut up, and then I'll come back when we are in the chopper on the machine gun. So I think I'll shut up now and just leave you to it for a little while. I'll be back when we're in the chopper. So as you can tell folks, that was our chopper inbound and we're now about to get on it. There was nothing really worth it in my opinion in that weapons box. I mean, we didn't eat what? Do you know, it just occurs to me that is the most pointless weapons box in the world because we do not use a gun again apart from the machine gun in the entire level, so I have no idea why they placed that weapons box there. Anyway, at the beginning you were probably thinking, oh my god, he is the worst shooter in the world, but trust me, my accuracy does improve in a little while. I'm just kind of getting to grips again with the machine gun because it's been ages since I've used it. It's completely different. I mean, the machine gun, the sort of feel to the machine gun is completely different from any other weapon you use on the sort of the stage levels. But when you're in this chopper, it's just all over the place. You've got 3 moving targets to compete with, so it does make it a little bit more challenging. But the fire of that machine gun is so intense that it normally takes out any target pretty darn soon. Later on we have to take out an enemy chopper, and that's a little bit more difficult, to be honest. That's one of them taken out, but another one comes inbound. So again, we're just waiting for some more enemies to come. It's not that I want them to, but you know, it's part of the game. As you can see, it just cuts up those people on the ground instantly, this machine gun. It's a shame you don't have something like this on the average levels, RPGs. I didn't even aim at them and it shot them, so... Again, the machine gun's sort of spread of fire is very large. Fortunately, convoy vehicles do take a little bit longer to do, but nothing too bad. To be honest with you, I personally don't like the machine gun. I mean, the machine gun just gets a bit repetitive after a while. At least with the stage levels you get a lot of variation and there's always something new. Although, unfortunately in this level, as you can probably tell from if you've been watching my previous videos, I always say at the beginning of the level something on the lines of oh well, in today's level there's something new introduced. Unfortunately in this level there was nothing really new introduced, so that wasn't a plus point, to be honest, about this level. I really wanted them, so really wanted something new to be introduced, but there wasn't. And it's difficult to tell if you were shooting the ship or the flaming chopper at this point, because that sky looks like metal. It looks like it just doesn't. It's hard to tell. But I was in fact shooting the ship. Well, everyone, this brings me to the end of the level. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, I will hopefully see you later on, everybody. Bye bye.